The human mind constantly creates boundaries and patterns to feel secure. It never stops doing this, but your true potential begins when these boundaries are removed. For Bruce Lee, being subjected to a thought or pressure imposed by others meant shackling his spirit. When he said, "Limitlessness is limitlessness," he was inviting us not only to physical exercise but to universal consciousness. In the quantum realm, everything is made up of possibilities, and the moment you accept that there is a limit, you eliminate those possibilities with your own hands. Many people stop when they reach the plateau. Bruce Lee argued that the plateau is just a mental illusion and that humans must go further. This lesson will teach you not to be part of a style, but to be the infinite power that encompasses all styles. Every time you say to yourself, "This is my capacity," you close the door to the miracles the universe has to offer. Limits are walls built by cowards to protect themselves. A warrior uses these walls as stepping stones. At this stage of the Bruce Lee Academy, you will erase the word impossible from your mind and attain a fluid power that fits into any container like water, yet is not confined to any mold. If you have a predetermined path, you are bound to that path, but if your path is no path, then everywhere is a path for you. Today is the time to burn all the artificial boundaries you have set for yourself to ashes and attune to the infinite frequency of the universe. Now let's explain these words with Bruce Lee's philosophy. This video will teach you a lot, you can be sure of that. Watch it again and again, even close your eyes and listen. Words are like seeds planted in the heart. One day they will surely sprout, and you will definitely see the benefit. So listen and let the words be planted in your heart. The illusion of the plateau. There are no limits. When the human mind gets tired, it sends a fake signal saying, "This is your limit," to protect the body. Bruce Lee saw this signal not as a stopping point, but as a wall to be demolished. One day during training, when his friend said, "If I run any more I'll die," Bruce said, "Then die." Because accepting a limit is living with a soul that is already dead. In the quantum field, limits are only as real as you observe and believe them to be. If you believe you have a fixed capacity, the universe will never show you beyond that capacity. Plateaus are not where your growth ends but test areas where you must shift gears. At the Bruce Lee Academy, we believe that the word impossible is just an excuse invented by weak people. When you remove the limits in your mind, you will realize with amazement that your muscles and nervous system can do much more. For a warrior, a limit is just a stepping stone used to move to the next level. If you think you can't do something, that thought becomes your reality and nails you to where you are. Bruce discovered that the key to transcending physical limits was a mental release. When you put yourself in a mold, you start hitting the walls of that mold. A mind without limits is like a fish swimming freely in an infinite ocean of possibilities. Human potential is like a vast galaxy waiting to be explored. Most people use only 1% of their potential because they are led to believe the other 99% is a forbidden zone. A quantum leap occurs only when you dare to go beyond your current limit. When you adopt the no limits philosophy like Bruce Lee, concepts like aging, fatigue, and failure lose their meaning. There are no limits. There are only temporary plateaus, and you must not stay there. Every morning when you wake up, push that imaginary limit you set for yourself yesterday 1 millimeter further. The universe is generous toward those who push their own boundaries and opens doors for them that have never been seen before. Today, write down everything you say "I can't" do on a piece of paper and burn it to ashes, because you are now in that new world beyond the limits. Having no way is way, the collapse of fixed systems. Blindly adhering to a fixed system or a rigid method is to freeze a living truth and turn it into a lifeless statue. Bruce Lee opposed the classicized molds of traditional martial arts with the principle of using no way as way, because life flows constantly and fixed systems cannot keep up with this flow. If you follow only one path, you close yourself off to infinite possibilities outside that path. In the quantum field, energy loses its potential when forced into a specific mold. It creates miracles when set free. Using no way as way is the art of instantly changing shape according to every situation, every opponent, and every difficulty. Bruce defined Jeet Kune Do not as a style, but as a process of liberation from styles. Having a method is like having a toolbox, but relying on only one tool makes you a limited master. A true warrior analyzes the situation and becomes whatever is needed at that moment. Sometimes a punch, sometimes a retreat, sometimes just silence. Fixed systems tell you what to think, whereas the principle of no way teaches you how to think. Unless you create your own system, you are destined to get lost in the labyrinths built by others. At the Bruce Lee Academy, we consider the weeding out of the non-essentials sacred, not the accumulation of knowledge. If you have a rigid rule in your mind like, "This is how this job is done," You cannot see the shortcuts the universe would offer you. Life is not a static painting but a dynamic dance, and in this dance only the flexible survive. To be trapped in a style is to build a ceiling on your own creativity. Bruce Lee learned something from everything but became a slave to nothing. He melted everything in his own crucible and made it Bruce Lee. While building your own unique path, you should use all existing paths as materials but worship none. A quantum leap begins with the courage to create your own way, at that point where all paths are believed to be blocked. No way actually means every place is a way. This makes you superior to any obstacle. Today, question those rigid rules and patterns in your life that you say, never change. Fixed systems collapse, but a soul that is fluid like water never breaks. Do not fit yourself into any definition. For the moment you fit into a definition, you are trapped by the limits of that definition. The quantum limit of beliefs, rejecting the impossible. The word impossible is a big lie invented by minds afraid to try the undiscovered. When Bruce Lee performed his famous 1-inch punch that defied the laws of physics, he wasn't just performing a physical show, but a mental revolution. Quantum physics shows us that unless the observer looks at something as possible, that probability cannot materialize. Your limits are not where your abilities end but where your beliefs get stuck. At the Bruce Lee Academy, we believe that saying "I can't" is the greatest negative command given to the universe. If you can imagine something, it already exists in the quantum field. Your task is to remove mental barriers and reach it. Throughout history, people argued that flying or going to the moon was impossible until someone said, no. Bruce shattered the heavyweight forces he was told his physical structure didn't allow, with the boundlessness he created in his own mind. The moment you label something as impossible, your brain automatically shuts down the neural pathways to achieve it. Quantum belief is trusting something as if it has happened before seeing it. This forces the molecules of the universe to rearrange according to your will. Bruce Lee's speed was not just about his muscles, but about his absolute belief that his movement could not be limited. Whatever you call impossible in your own life is the wall of your quantum prison. To reject the impossible is to set aside logical thinking and surrender to the infinite potential of the soul. For a true warrior, every obstacle is actually an illusion, and this illusion can only be overcome with belief. Like Bruce Lee, at the point where others say it's impossible, you must learn to say, it's just something I haven't tried yet. Today, pick the biggest impossible in your life and look at it with Bruce Lee's sharp gaze. That thing isn't actually there, it just appears that way in your mind. Boundless like water, the power of formlessness. When Bruce Lee said, be water, he was talking about the power of water to transcend every boundary and fill every void. Water knows no limits even when a dam is built in front of it. It accumulates that energy and eventually breaks through that limit. Boundlessness begins the moment you stop defining yourself by a form. Because form is a prison while formlessness is infinity. Being boundless like water at the quantum level means expanding your energy in every direction without trapping it in a specific mold. At the Bruce Lee Academy, we believe that a person's limit is only limited by their own imagination. If you say, I am this, you draw a limit for yourself, but if you say, I am everything, you step into boundlessness. Bruce Lee erased the thick lines that limited martial arts and turned combat into a pure act of boundlessness. A limit is the mind inventing a stopping point, whereas there is no stopping in the nature of the soul. Water becomes the cup when it enters a cup, but it is still water and can exceed the limits of the cup at any time. Instead of getting caught in the limits of your circumstances, you must remember that you are a boundless energy source that transcends those conditions. Bruce Lee's principle of having no limitation as limitation means that no obstacle can be greater than your will. In the quantum field, every possibility exists, and a boundless mind can navigate these possibilities without any barriers. When you accept a limit, that limit becomes your universe. When you reject the limit, the whole universe becomes your playground. Today, break all the narrow molds you define yourself by with the power of water and let yourself into that vast piece of boundlessness. Shattering the ceiling, the sovereignty of potential. Mastery is the art of dancing within uncertainty and refusing to be measured by the standards of the world. Bruce Lee's legacy is a testament to the fact that the only real borders are the ones we allow to exist in our consciousness. When you shatter the ceiling of your expectations, you begin to operate at a frequency where gravity cannot hold your spirit down. Every great achievement in history was once a limit that someone decided to ignore. At the Bruce Lee Academy, we don't just teach you to move faster. We teach you to think beyond the concept of fast. A boundless mind does not compete with others. It competes with the version of itself that believed in limits yesterday. The sovereignty of potential means recognizing that you are an infinite being having a temporary experience in a finite world. Do not let the finite world define your infinite nature. Bruce Lee used his philosophy as a hammer to crush every social, racial, and physical barrier placed before him. You must be equally ruthless with your own self-imposed restrictions. The quantum field is not a place you go, but a state of being you occupy when you stop saying, "I am not enough." Today, reclaim the sovereignty of your soul and realize that the horizon is not a boundary, but an invitation to keep moving. Where boundlessness begins. The most vital truth you must understand at the end of this lesson is this. Limits are not in the outside world, they are only in your mind that accepts them. Bruce Lee turned every stop sign into an acceleration signal and proved that the human spirit cannot fit into any mold. If you turn off this video and still say, "I can't do this," you have not yet grasped the spirit of the Bruce Lee Academy. In the quantum field, there is no ceiling reserved for you. It is a field of infinite expansion and you are the creator at its center. Stop weighing your potential with the measures of others and declare your own boundlessness. See limits not as realities, but as temporary illusions standing there to be transcended. Bruce Lee used no way as way and no limitation as limitation. Now you must do the same. Break those imaginary chains and direct your life with the unstoppable power of water. Welcome to that massive void where limits end and you begin. Now go and show the world what a boundless spirit can do. Thank you for watching.